the book contains contributions from a wide variety of thinkers, not just people in theology, but people in philosophy, people in business schools, and importantly, a set of interviews with business leaders themselves that kick off the book, involving business leaders reflecting on the importance of social ethics in the way that they make decisions in business. So the whole project is meant to give, in particular, people working in business a sense of how their business decisions can be shaped by the tradition of Catholic social thought. Good goods are goods that are truly good and services that truly serve, to use the language from an important document in the Catholic tradition, the vocation of the business leader. But of course that leaves questions unanswered, and specifically the question about what makes a good truly good for people. And obviously, as I mentioned before, it involves quality and not harming the person. But these are things that business leaders generally understand. They generally want to give quality products to people, and products that actually fulfill people's needs rather than harm them. The basic statement that St. John Paul II uses in his encyclicals, drawing on an earlier Pope, Paul VI, is that all having should be oriented to being. That is, to have more in life is not sufficient. We have to have more in order to be more, in order to become more fully human, in order to flourish more as human persons in community with others. And so good goods are goods that can serve that purpose, that broad purpose of humanizing us, or of drawing us more deeply into communion with our neighbors. The virtual world is filled with things that could be very promising. That is, we can use the internet to learn things that we couldn't learn otherwise, or reach out to people, or even view promotional videos on important books like the one you're viewing now. But of course, the internet is clearly used by people and then by firms to distract, to engage, to addict. I think the idea of addiction, or the various ways in which algorithms in various web platforms attempt to draw us in to things that are not actually good for us. For example, into polarizing discourses, or into trivial games. I have an example in the book of the head of Netflix suggesting that Netflix tries to design the interface in such a way that people will keep watching or will binge, because what Netflix is doing is competing with sleep on the margin. That's actually his words. Netflix is competing with sleep on the margin. They want you to get to bed later and not get a good night's sleep, because that will mean more Netflix. Well, that makes Netflix, I think, a questionable product. Consumers can determine if a product is good in many ways. Obviously, in terms of quality, consumers use goods and attempt to find quality goods. But at the level of the essay, one of the most important concepts that's discussed in the essay is the idea that consumers should look to goods to help fulfill their personal vocation. I think it is particularly important to recognize the role of investment in developing new products. Business leaders and investors, and I'm not talking about ordinary retail investors as much as people with large pools of investment, really do have an extraordinary influence in our society over what products get developed and what products don't get developed. And so I would encourage people in the business world, particularly those connected to investment, to think seriously about the ways in which their choices are not just choices about making more money, but about making the world a certain kind of place, and asking themselves questions about whether their investments are truly helping people live more human lives. I'm David Cloutier. I'm an associate professor of moral theology at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C.